Hey everyone, it's Maribel Blue, and welcome back to my channel. This is Pathetically Unfiltered segment, episode 7. For some reason, I got confused with my episodes, and I think because I've been recording a lot of content and then going back and editing, and they were just awful. And I like to keep my viewers engaged, so it's important for me to do these do-overs, and then hopefully one day I can just do it in one take and post it up. But anyway, here we are. We've got a lot to talk about, especially in the MAGA world, while everybody is fighting amongst themselves. And believe me, there are people who are really, really enjoying this. But then there are also other people like myself saying, what did you expect? Insanity is repeating the same mistakes and expecting different results. And everyone who has participated within the insanity, expecting different results, are not only seeing the same results, but even worse off than before. I have my handy cards, so if you are new here, welcome to this channel. I do 2 different segments on this channel. One is Pathetically Unfiltered News and Reactions, and the other one is the Unfiltered Rabbit Hole, the history of which a new episode will be coming out next year. We're practically a day away from that. So if you enjoy conspiracy theories that are not to be taken seriously and doing deep dives, please subscribe to this channel. Show your support. Other than subscribing, watch the whole entire video, share with your friends, and let's get started. I have 7 cards here. I did an episode a few days ago and then I started editing and I just felt it was awful. Granted that I've been going through my own personal stuff, I'm really trying to push through my grieving the loss of my cat, who was a part of the show, always sat up here on the top, and it's just been awful. But anyway, enough of that. Let's talk about the Trump supporters who are in a frenzy of what has been going on between Ilanka Musk, and just for this segment, I'll call him by his real name, Elon Musk, and convict Trump. That convict Trump will never change because that's what he is. So let's not lie about that, okay? Trump supporters are in their feelings due to the sudden switch over of the H1B visas. MAGA world is complaining this is not what they voted for. And why did the convicts side with Elon? Plain and simple, money talks and bullshit walks. It has always been that way since the beginning of time. Leverage, having something that another person wants and discarding the person that's not giving them what they want. This is what it's all about. For anyone to think otherwise, for anyone to think, well, what about us? What are you doing to make a difference? This is what really kills me with all of this. People are complaining about immigrants and thinking that they are just coming here looking for handouts. Meanwhile, the same people that are complaining about the handouts are the ones who are looking for handouts. What are you doing to make a difference? And hating is not making a difference. Complaining is not making a difference. All of the things that are happening right now, the negativity, the hate, the spewing with other groups isn't helping. It's not making a difference. Has it ever made a difference before? No, it has not. So don't sit there and say, oh, well, life was better in 1788. You don't even know that. And it probably wasn't. The world evolves and we all change. And at some point, people have to grow the fuck up. And the other thing is, like, we can all laugh and eat our popcorn and drink our tea and enjoy this. The fact of the matter is, with a lot of people, the empathy has gone right out the window. I don't know what it takes for a person to actually see the truth of what is going on. Elon Musk has had a good time practicing social engineering on others. I'm convinced this man has been doing it for years now. Facebook was doing it, and now we have Elon Musk doing it. So no one should be surprised that convict Trump took the side of Elon Musk. Let's review some truths from convict Trump why he would take the side of Elon Musk. He doesn't like to pay overtime. Instead, he would trade other workers so that he could pay them regular time and then send the other workers home. And he even said it. He doesn't like to pay overtime. We all heard that speech. I don't know where were you when you heard it, but I know I heard it more than once.
And you know, it's going to lead to great things. A lot of people don't give. I know a lot about overtime. I'd hated to give overtime. I hated it. I'd get other people, I shouldn't say this, but I'd get other people in, I wouldn't pay. I hated.
Also, didn't a judge block the state of Texas from paying overtime? And here's another truth. He admitted after the election that he doesn't control grocery prices. So while everybody was voting for the lower price of eggs, the lower price of gas, guess what? We all just found out, well, I shouldn't say we, but y'all just all found out that he does not control. A president does not control what a corporation prices anything. That's not the way the world works. Why other countries have taken a hold on having better quality of life as opposed to the United States? Probably because they're not run by self-centered narcissists. And here's another truth. Not only does he despise paying overtime, he doesn't like to pay his bills. He owes over $49,000 to Grand Rapids and he doesn't want to pay. What does that say about anybody who does not want to pay their bills? What happens when you don't pay the lights? The electric company comes and says, well, you didn't pay the bill, so we're shutting off the lights because you don't get free light. Unless you figured out a way to harness through solar panels or whatever, and you still have to pay for that. Unless you're living in the middle of a forest, you have to pay your bills. And he is not going to pay anything that he owes to any of the states while he was out campaigning. Why should he? He's never took responsibility for anything previous to, and now we're expecting for him to be responsible now? And while the MAGAs are complaining on Twitter, now Elon is calling like the tech right, like the smart people, and the right, the retard people. And I know people have been apologizing. Oh, I'm sorry for saying that word. Look, I'm just repeating what he said. Okay. I'm not going to apologize for having to repeat something that Elon said and put it on Twitter. I look at it like this. People are complaining because the initial problem was, well, we want the jobs for us. What about the Americans who want these jobs? Don't think that I have sat back at one point in my life and has said the same exact thing. Why is it that X person gets the job and I don't get the job? I'm qualified to get the job. Maybe I wasn't qualified enough. Maybe I didn't have a special skill that person had, and that was the reason why they got the job. If a tech company is hiring and they're looking for coders and I don't have that experience, why would I apply for that job? Being an American is not enough. You have to have the experience in order for you to do the job. I own my own business. I sell candles. I sell soap. I'm not here making soap and lotion. I don't have the capacity nor the licenses to do that. However, I order from a vendor that has a factory that does all of this. He has a team of people and they all work together. They all have the licenses. They all have the certificates, and I purchase from them wholesale. That's how things work when it comes to business. I see a lot of people, oh, well, they make it themselves and they sell it to the public. That's all well and good luck to you. Hopefully your customers won't come back with a scathing rash because maybe you put a chemical in it that wasn't supposed to be in it. This is the reason why I take cautious steps in who I work with. And this specific vendor, I'm very happy with, and my customers are happy too. If it was me doing it on my own, I'm going to start my own business. I'm going to start making my own soap and then start distributing that shit and not really thinking about the long term, the domino effect that I have said time and time again. People are not thinking in this capacity. They are thinking instantaneously. Hence the reason why now we are here. And you've got Elon Musk now going all over Twitter, all with his fake accounts, pretending he's other people, advocating for the things that he's saying. And I'll show you. Hey everyone, so I wanted to cut into and talk about the new candles that I am launching on my website, maribelblue.com and servebox.com. These are spiritual candles and they are adorned with beautiful images, and they will also be blessed before they arrive to your home should you choose to have these shipped over to you. I feel like 2025 is coming up. We're going to need a lot of peace and spirituality in our lives. Do log on to surfbox.com and I will leave those links down below for you to make your purchases of these candles. And of course, my website, which is all about life coaching and Reiki. I'm putting my stuff to practice. It's also time for me to make some major changes in my life. So please be sure to support both of my websites and shop anytime on surfbox.com. Thank you so much. So I'm going to play this video from Tizzy ENT, who basically breaks it down so eloquently.
I hadn't wanted to record any videos today, and the fact that I'm doing so should tell you that it's worth it. So just bear with me for a moment. The MAGA meltdown on Twitter continues. Elon Musk tweeted, "The reason I'm in America, along with so many critical people who built SpaceX, Tesla, and hundreds of other companies that made America strong is because of H1B. Take a big step back and fuck yourself in the face. I will go to war on this issue, the likes of which you cannot possibly comprehend." Now, people didn't like this, although he seemed more upset that people didn't get the Tropic Thunder reference with the fuck yourself in the face line. But among those who were critical was Trump confidant and former senior advisor Steve Bannon, who took a screenshot, posted it on Getter, and wrote, "Someone please notify Child Protective Services. They need to do a wellness check on this toddler." But if you've been forced to see the forest for the trees, like Ian Miles Chong here, who in response to a guy writing "You're fat, brown, and not even American, keep America white," said, "There it is, only it's been there the whole time, Ian." And these are the people who normally support you because you push the same kind of racial propaganda that they like. It just isn't fun when it's pointed back at you. And Nick Fuentes, crying about how so many of his Groyper buddies have been removed from the platform. And he's like, what is happening here? But you're not fooling old Tim Pool here. The attacks on Elon and the narrative being built around censorship feels like an op. I'm not falling for it, and neither should you. They've been trying to get Elon and MAGA to go at war for weeks. Fuck that. Was that script given directly from the Russian agents that had been paying for other posts, or did you just come up with that by yourself? But far and away, the best thing that happened this weekend is when this account decided to host a space. For those not familiar, space is kind of like a live on TikTok, only without video. And then decided to argue in defense of Elon Musk. And as they do, I want you to listen to who's speaking and tell me who you recognize that to be.
Extreme legacy MAGA movement will have to deal with it as well, because that's how it is. And don't hate the fucking big tech bros, because out of all of them, Elon is the only one that's giving all of these crackheads a fucking voice. I want you to try and pull that shit on fucking Facebook and see how long you last. You ungrateful motherfuckers, seriously. You keep crying censorship this, censorship that. You're not censored. Your takes just suck. Get over it, and get over yourselves. Honestly. I'm not an enemy of anyone, but if you hate me for saying this, so fucking be it.
Elon Musk? No, that can't be Elon Musk. That's Adrian Dittman, not Elon Musk. And we know that it's not Elon Musk because he told us so.
I mean, can we just get this right? Is this Elon Musk or not? Never mind the name. Is it Elon Musk or what?
Absolutely not. Nope. Absolutely not. I am definitely not Elon. 100% not.
That's definitely Elon Musk. And what's even better is going back on that Adrian Dittman account back to the beginning of this year. We see a post from Elon where he says, "My son, little X, likes cleaning my back. So monkey rides. Post this tender moment." To which Adrian responded, "You're an amazing father, Elon. Your kids are very lucky to have you." He went and gave himself props from his own sock puppet account. That's who we're dealing with here. And he's a billionaire. He's like the richest man on the planet. And he does shit like this. You can afford to pay people to actually do this, you know. This is all best summed up in a separate space, one that Elon or his sock puppets weren't in, that just a bunch of MAGAs were airing their grievances, where this pearl of wisdom happened to fall from the mouth of babes.
And now it makes sense why Elon Musk is banning all the accounts, all the original OG mega accounts. He pulled all of their blue checks. He banned some of them. He shut them all down. I mean, at this point, Kamala Harris would have been better for the country. At least she would have just kept bringing illegals. She wouldn't have made it legal. You know, that bringing these people legal makes it impossible to get them out. When they're here illegally, you can at least do mass deportations.
Incidentally, for the MAGAs who feel caught off guard by all of this, you shouldn't be if you had even been paying the least bit of attention. Because January of 2019, Donald Trump tweeted, H1B holders in the United States can rest assured that changes are coming that which will bring both simplicity and certainty to your stay, including a potential path to citizenship. You feel hoodwinked? You should, because you were.
Do you see the levels of stupidity? Do you see it? It is social engineering at its best. Now people don't know where to put themselves. You still have people talking about, oh, well, at this point, Kamala Harris would have been better for the country. She still would have been bringing in illegals. You're still thinking about illegals. You're still thinking about immigrants. Is that your main concern? It's not for the betterment of the country. These people have zero clue, zero. If there's anything less than zero, then it's that of critical thinking skills. And even on TikTok, it's very hard for me to use the words critical thinking because they get upset and they call it bullying and they take down my comments. This is considered bullying and harassment. Critical thinking, everybody should be using their critical thinking skills. You should be thinking about cause and effect, what an action will cause if you take that action. It makes total sense to critically think. If I take this action, that could happen. If I take that action, this will happen. There is nothing wrong with thinking about the future and the choices that you make. And nobody was thinking during this election time. They were instantaneously thinking hate, if that's considered thinking or an action. Who even knows? But the fact is, I think Tizzy just wrapped it up here perfectly. And now people across the board, they're finding out in one form or another. This goes beyond healthcare. It goes beyond Social Security. It's all of that wrapped into one of how we move forward so that our democracy is protected. And you know what? I'm not even going to sit here and say I'm this expert in politics. I am not an expert in politics whatsoever, but I'm smart enough to know the difference in taking certain actions and how that could affect my life later on down the line. It doesn't take an expert to critically think about your decisions. It really does not. And it seems to me that today, the new ear of listening is with their asshole. And then they spew out shit. It's just become that simple for a lot of people. Let's move on to Luigi Mangione, because I know people have been going crazy over this guy. So the CEO of United Healthcare, Brian Thompson, was brutally murdered outside of Manhattan on his way to an insider trading meeting or whatever. My friend called it an insider trading, but I think that's illegal too. Well, anyway, he was on his way there, never made it. He was shot and killed outside a Manhattan street. And nobody knew who it was for a while. And we probably still don't know who it was, even though somebody was caught and arrested. People had the lack of empathy for this man, for being killed. Nothing about his wife, nothing about it. Usually when something happens like that, they look at the wife. I don't know what happened in this situation. I don't know if they looked at her. I have no idea who she is. I have no idea who the children that they have are. Like nothing. I've never even heard of this man. But I've heard of the fiasco of healthcare, and it is truly, truly a fiasco. And I wonder how other countries look at us and wonder how all of us survive from day to day with fighting with the healthcare, fighting, trying to get medications that we need to survive, and having been denied that health care because the insurance company is saying, well, we don't think you need it. But the doctor is saying, The doctor who went to school, your medical doctor is saying, but they need it. And a health insurance company who's not a doctor that you're paying into is saying, no, you don't. This is what people are dealing with. And I can see why people were not so quick to find out who he was and how nobody wanted to help. I completely understand that. But at the same time, I cannot sit here and condone it. And now that we have a face, so to speak, it's like a little girl's fan club putting up pictures of him, of how good looking he is. I'm not going to dispute the fact that he is not a good looking guy. He is a good looking guy, but he is charged with murder. And I don't know if I can ride on the bandwagon of being some kind of a fan base, just like the same way I'm not going to be on a fan base of the Menendez brothers. They should have thought of that. If their father was actually doing something to them, they should have went to the authorities instead of taking matters into their own hands and say, gee, well, why don't we just execute our parents? What a good idea. We'll go to the movies and we'll just pretend we found them that way. Do you see how there's no critical thinking in that? Who thinks that way? That is not normal thinking. And this is the problem with a lot of people in this world. They are normalizing insanity. We have to stop that. While I do not agree with normalizing insanity, there were some things that were suspect, thanks to our internet sleuths who do deep dives into looking at several things here. I agree with the internet sleuths in looking at their surveillance pictures. There were things about his eyebrows with the person in the Starbucks, I believe. There was really a clean space here, whereas Luigi's eyebrows are very hairy and close together, almost like a unibrow, as what they call it. The other thing is the knapsack he was carrying. Apparently, the person had a light color knapsack, whereas the person inside the Starbucks had a black knapsack. So there are many questionable. Questionable. How come I can't say that word? For some reason, I'm having trouble saying the word questionable. Okay, now I said it right. So there are many questionable things right now when it comes to this case and what they plan on doing. And literally, I mean, this guy, every little thing, even right down to the news segment with the cop, and it looks like he is in love with him.
Second thing I want to make a record of, Your Honor, is I'm very concerned about my client's right to a fair trial in this case. He's being prejudiced by some statements that are being made by government officials. Like every other defendant, he is entitled to a presumption of innocence. But unfortunately, the way this has been handled so far, his rights are being violated. And as you know, Your Honor, there's a wealth of case law guaranteeing his right to a fair trial, but none of the safeguards have been put in place yet here. In fact, it's just the opposite of what's been happening. He's a young man, and he is being treated like a human ping pong ball between two warring jurisdictions here. These federal and state prosecutors are coordinating with one another, but at the expense of him. They have conflicting theories in their indictments, and they're literally treating him like he is.
Do you see this man's face? I mean, it's actually changing as they talk more and more about him. I don't understand what is going on. And on top of that, he's wearing this burgundy sweater and like tan pants. Now you have guys, from what I understand, you can't even find this burgundy sweater anymore or a replica of it and dressing like him. What? You know what? I have no words. Guys, if this is getting you dates and you get married in the end, then more power to you. That's all I can say. But just as long as the girl understands that you are not Luigi, then go for it. I just look at it like this. We've had serial killers who's had fan bases like Ted Bundy, Richard Ramirez. Richard Ramirez was the grossest man on earth. Why women just found this exciting, I will never, ever understand. Never. There is nothing fabulous about people who take other people's lives and then you glorify them. Again, I'm not saying Brian Thompson didn't have what's coming to him. I really don't know. I don't know what experiences people have had with United Healthcare. So I can't say for sure, oh, well, yeah, he deserved it. No, I cannot say that within good conscience. I really can't. But I also cannot say that I look at Luigi Mangione as some kind of a hero. Right now, as it stands, and as it stands with any case, innocent until proven guilty. And right now, he pleaded not guilty. And we just have to leave it as that until the case begins. So the other day, I was on Instagram just scrolling away as I normally do. No more politics, changing it up. And I see this post on Kate Moss. I've always liked the models of the 90s. It was a very big deal. They were like a staple of modeling and what that meant back in the 90s. Kate Moss, however, everyone had comments about her being thin, the concerns of the modeling world. Are they really eating? And I know a lot of things came out with the modeling world, and I will tell you that's probably the world where there really aren't any ethics. Now I really don't follow it as much as I used to, but back in the 90s, it was a very, very big deal. It was constantly thrown in your face. The thinness, the beauty. You had Cindy Crawford. Cindy Crawford had this mole, and it was unheard of. Like when you had models at that time, before that time, they had to be flawless. No tattoos, no nothing. So to have Cindy Crawford be one of those faces. To me, it was beautiful. You even had Naomi Campbell. Naomi Campbell is fierce. She was one of the greatest, or is one of the greatest models of all time. I think she's absolutely gorgeous. And to be a part of that, to be a part of seeing that and following it, for me, I loved it. I run into this post and I'm like, like Kate Moss. And it said something about read the comments. And I'm like, okay, because there's copyrighted music, I have to mute it and play it for you. So it says Kate Moss recently walked the Victoria's Secret's runway, and this is what people felt they needed to say. It's good they're representing the elderly. Question mark. Is she expecting? Did she eat too many tacos before the show? Beautiful walk, but totally dislike the open stomach area. Too old and saggy for that kind of walk. She looks uncomfortable and washed out. Congratulations on her bundle of joy. I wish these grandmas would stay home, miserable and liquors up. This makes me hurt my eyes. Bring back the young honeys. Really, Sergio? How old are you? She was too thin before, and now at 50, her stomach is, or her tummy is too big. And oh, of course, she's too old. And a lot of comments are from women. Do better. Really, ladies? Really? Did you forget at some point you too are going to be old? And most likely, once you turn 50, you'll probably look 70. And there's going to be a 70-year-old standing next to you that's going to look way better than you. There was something that I saw on the train back in New York City a long time ago. I'll never ever forget this. I actually wrote it down because I didn't want to forget it. Growing up is optional. Growing old is mandatory. No one is exempt from getting old unless something happens, but you're going to get old. I can guarantee you on that. So, with all that being said, what do you think of what is going on with the MAGA world and fighting amongst each other? What do you think about Luigi Mangione? Do you think he is the same person that killed Brian Thompson? And what do you think is going to happen in 2025? We all know that Elon Musk seems to be, I don't want to say is, but seems to be the master of social engineering. And people have purchased into it, made commitments with it, and believe it. That's the truth. And we've all brought into it in some form or another, bringing ourselves into the social media world, opening our doors to an unseen audience. So yeah, it's gonna be an interesting 4 years if it happens. So with all that being said, this is Maribel Blue signing off. Happy New Year to all of you. And as always, remember, be good to yourself, be good to each other. Most importantly, take care of you. Bye, everybody.